welcome back to Learn Economia. Having discussed the functions of Reserve Bank of India and the commercial banks, in this video we are going to look into the role of non-bank financial institutions. Before starting into or before going into the role of non-bank financial company, it is non-bank financial institution, it's very important to understand what does a non-bank financial company or non-bank financial institution mean. It is a functioning entity which would be giving loans, advances, etc. to the general public as per the Indian Companies Act. So we could see that the Reserve Bank of India has defined non-banking financial company as the companies which are registered under the Companies Act of 1956 and are involved in business of loans and advances, acquisition of shares, stocks, bonds, debentures and securities issued by the government or local authority or other marketable securities of these kinds of nature. They would involve in leasing, hire purchases, insurance business, chit business, etc. But they do not involve in any institution whose principal business is agricultural activity, industrial activity, purchase or sale of any goods or providing any services related to it, and sale, purchase, construction, etc. of immovable property. So this is known as a non-banking financial company. The Reserve Bank of India has further extended the definition of non-banking financial companies. So they have incorporated a principal business of receiving deposits under any scheme through which any arrangement is one lump sum or in installments by way of contributions or in other names. Coming to the role of non-bank financial companies, we could say that they involve in hire purchase services. A hire purchase service is a way through which the seller delivers the goods to the buyer without transferring the ownership of goods. The payment of goods is made in installments. Once the buyer pays all the installments of the goods, the ownership of the good is automatically transferred to the buyer. So this is known as hire purchase services. Next, the non-bank financial company will involve in retail finance. That means that the companies which provide these kinds of short-term loans for loans against shares, gold, property, etc. They are the ones who primarily deal with retail financing for consumption purposes. Next is trade finance. Companies dealing with dealer, distributor, etc. They can involve in working capital requirements, vendor finance and other business loan. Then infrastructure funding, which is the largest section of non-banking financial companies. Which is the area in which the largest section of non-banking financial companies involve in. Here we could see that they would include real estate, railways of metros, flyovers, ports, airports, etc. So the infrastructural funding means they will fund for all these kinds of developmental projects. Next is financial intermediation, which is one of the most important functions of non-bank financial companies. That is to transfer funds from savers to investors. Financial intermediation, that is another word of telling transfer, playing a third party role. Playing a third party role is another important role of non-bank financial company. It would provide fund to small business. It would benefit small savers. And also we could see that there is some economic basis for non-bank financial company intermediation. Handling a fund by these is more economical as well as more efficient than other kinds of entities who involve in these kinds of transactions, because of the fact that financial intermediation is based on the principle of large numbers, or the principle of large numbers means law of large numbers. And also we could see that economies of scale in portfolio management plays a very important role here. So we have to first of all understand what does law of large numbers mean. In certain activities, we could see that the financial intermediaries operate on the basis of this aspect. As per this, creditors will withdraw their funds from institutions. If some creditors are withdrawing cash, some others are depositing. Again, financial intermediaries they receive regular interest payments or in loans or investments made by them. All these factors enable the financial intermediaries to keep cash only in a small fraction of funds provided by creditors or lend or invest the rest. Coming to economies of scale, we can see that large size of asset portfolio enable financial intermediaries to reap profit reap economies of scale in portfolio management, like reduction of risk, employment of efficient managers, low administrative costs, low cost of establishment, etc. Now, it also helps in inducement to save. Savers need stores of value to hold their savings in. These institutions provide a wide range of assets which act as store of value and make available expert services to savers. So by acting as a store of value, these assets have certain special advantages over tangible assets. These are easily storable, these are liquid, these are divisible, these are less risky. So the saving income ratio is positively related to financial institutions as well as financial assets, and this would help in financial progress. This would be inducing the large savings out of the same level of real income. Next, mobilization of saving. That means that savers who hold savings in the form of currency, deposit, post office savings, etc., would be able to put their savings in non-bank financial intermediaries or non-bank financial companies. So they would be given highly efficient rates of interest. There can be depository intermediaries, contractual intermediaries, etc. would be acting between the savers as well as the entity in which they save. In the case of depository intermediaries, these include savings, loan association, credit unions, etc., to mobilize the small savings and provide high liquidity of funds. In the case of contractual intermediaries, they enter into contract with the savers and provide them various types of benefits over a long period. Then they would involve in investment of funds. These institutions follow some different kinds of investment policy. For example, saving and loan association, mutual savings bank invest etc. in mortgages, while insurance companies invest in bond and certificate. So that's all. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. I'll be providing the links of the Telegram group and Telegram channel in the description box. You can be a part of these to discuss your doubts. That's all. Thank you.